guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Johanna. I don't know why I can't get this right. Hi guys, my name is Johanna, and if you're new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. This is a DIY tutorial on how to make a cover or dashboard, and I'll explain why I make a differential there in just a minute, but for your mini happy planner. Now, I did do a tutorial on how to do a traveler's notebook style cover for your mini happy planner, and I'll link that video below. And this is the one that I did. Now in that video, I didn't have it quite complete, but now that you see, I've actually added a different colored elastic as well as found a coordinating crochet bow, because I do plan to put this in my Etsy shop, although by the time these videos are loaded, I don't know if it'll be in the Etsy shop. I'd like to time it all together, but you know, we'll see how that goes. So this is the cover with the pocket, and because my happy planners typically won't match this, I also, when I do put these type of things in my shop, I like to include two covers so that when you open it, it does coordinate with the cover that you've purchased from me. So I will be using this Dear Lizzie Lovely Day that I got as a Christmas present from my sister-in-law. She's in Kansas, so I don't even know where this is from, whether it's Hobby Lobby, Tuesday Morning, you know, any of those stores we don't have here in Hawaii. So if you can find it, awesome. It's super cute, and I'm really happy that she sent it to me. So I will be using a page in here for the coordinating cover slash dashboard. And because the cover is quite busy, I'm going to be looking for something. And the reason why I made a distinction between the cover and the dashboard is the cover is bigger. So if I put these next to each other, the cover is long enough so that it actually covers both the dashboard and the tab. When I make them to go in the Mini Happy Planner Traveler's Notebook covers, I use this as my template, just because I truly use it as a cover versus a dashboard. Although if you are making this, you can choose either way to make it. It'll just adjust your measurements. I will do a corresponding blog to this with all of the measurements and the supplies and the whatnot. So go ahead and check that out. I'll link that below. My blog is really new. It's even newer than my YouTube channel, which only started October of 2018. So there isn't a lot of content on my blog, but it is something that I will be increasing as I go through this whole happy planner planning DIY YouTube Etsy journey. Yeah. So like I said, I'm going to be basing it off of this, and the measurements are 7.5 by 5. Yeah, 7.5 by 5. So I will be cutting 2 sheets of this to correspond. Now, I've had several cutters in the past, but I really like this Fiskars one, so that's what I'll be using. And if you are doing this, you'll definitely want to take into account the direction of your paper, because there is writing on here. I definitely need to be mindful of how I am cutting this. So I want this to be 7.5. And then 2 strips that are 5, because I am making, well, at least for what I include in the ones that I put in my shop, I always make 2. And then this I can turn into a little bookmark. I have so many scrap pieces of paper. I don't know why I keep holding on to them, but I do. And for this one, a regular 8.5 by 11 laminate sheet works just fine. If you saw the tutorial on how to make the cover, I actually used one that was like 9 by 14, a legal size. This is just a letter size, but again, it'll fit, so I'm not too concerned. And I'm actually going to put them like this, because if you're going to use this as a transformer cover for your Happy Planner, then you'd want the punches so that when you flipped it over, it was correct. I am going to round the corners, at least on the outside edges. And it looks like the corners are rounded on the inside edges, so I'll do the same. And it's not so critical now. I didn't have to do that for the punching of the corners or the rounding of the corners, but when I actually punch this, I will definitely need to make sure that I keep this way. Again, it wouldn't be horrible if both of them were this way, because again, depending on how you use it, you might not be utilizing this in a transformer style. But again, just to try to be mindful, that's why I was thinking about it. And for these, just so long as they are not touching each other, I don't need to make sure that they're absolutely straight, because I'll just be cutting off the edges anyway. And although I do have the big Happy Planner punch, I've heard that it does not work really well with laminate or plastic or anything like that. So I actually plan to use just a single hole punch that I have and just doing it that way. So I ran it through my laminator once, and although I don't think it's necessary for something like this, I'm actually going to run it through one more time. All right, so that's run through twice. I'm just going to turn off my laminator for now. Now, I don't know if you have a laminator and if you were aware of this, but if you are doing just a single thickness of paper, you don't have to worry about cutting the little air pocket at the edge because it's only the single sheet of paper. Now, I always still leave an edge, but just so that you know, because you've already laminated the paper. Now, if you do cut right on the edge and don't leave that little bit of a lip, and I don't know if you can see that or not, eventually your paper, even though it's one single thickness, may still split. But, you know, that would be through a lot of wear and tear. But for my purposes, I just leave a tiny little edge on it, just because it will make it the most durable. Now go around all the sides and clean that up. And as I mentioned in my other video when I made the cover, I don't butt it up against the side here, which you would typically do when you're cutting, just to make sure you have a straight edge. I can reasonably assume this is a straight edge, but in the event that it isn't, I actually just line up the paper with the bottom here, and then I can reasonably assume that that creates a straight edge. So that's the first. Now, if you are cutting laminate, it will dull your blade. So what you may want to do is keep one that is strictly for laminate, and then keep one that's much sharper for your paper so that you don't get a duller edge. I have lots of refills on the, or not refills, but replacements on the blades, so I just use mine until it won't cut my paper anymore. But just again, if you are new to doing this, just beware that happens. And then just to mirror, I punch the corners. Now, even if I did not corner around the paper, I would actually still corner around the laminate, because the laminate, if they're not rounded, is really sharp and you can hurt yourself. So if you decide not to round your corners, that's cool, but definitely round off, at least cutting with the scissors, the edge, just so that you don't poke yourself every time you grab your Happy Planner. So in order to punch, I have this high-tech method where I somewhat center this so that the top and the bottom has the same amount of space. And I just use a page from the mini. And I'm going to tape it down. And this would be easier if I wasn't filming, because then I wouldn't have to worry that you can see it. And then I just picked this up from Walmart, and it's just your regular single hole punch. And I will follow the guides. And for others who I've seen do this, they usually mark with a Sharpie. But this is just the way that I have been doing it. So for the ones that I have put in my shop, they are all manually punched, just because at the time I didn't have my big Happy Planner punch to do this, but also because what I've read, I don't want to break it because I really like it for punching paper. So I'm okay with doing this method. And then I don't actually use it as a guide, but you just cut slits in. So that you can actually put this in your Happy Planner. The next one would be exactly the same, so I'm actually just going to turn on the music and fast forward you through the second one that I am doing. Now, even though the holes there are much bigger than the original, it is still a functional piece of paper, so I'm actually going to just put that back into my planner. Now, when I did tape this on, I don't know if you could see it, but I did tape the edge of the paper, or I butted the edge against the edge of the laminate and not the edge of the paper. So I don't know if you can see that, but that's what I've done because I didn't want this to stick out even further. So that is front and back, and here is the mini Happy Planner. Now I do keep the cover in there. And this one actually does not, it's not too bad. I didn't need to make the corresponding covers. But depending on which one you have, this may not fit when you open it. And that's why I create these. And again, as you can see, it covers the full thing, which I like. And then this one I would put on the back. So that again, if you were doing a transformer style, then you'd have the corresponding covers. Although I use the one that comes with the Happy Planner, and I cut this because I don't know why, but I use this one because this one is much sturdier. And so that's how that would go. So just put this back in the front because we don't need it in the back there. Oh, no. There. Again, when I take photos and whatnot for when I list it in the shop, then when I'm done with them, I actually tuck them in so that I keep everything together. But this is the Mini Happy Planner Traveler's Notebook style cover that I created, and again, the link to that video is below. I did change out the elastic and I added a little crochet bow that I've made. And then this video was the DIY cover to the Mini Happy Planner itself so that it coordinates together, because I like the look of that. Now, I would never sell this in my shop as just a cover because this is rather thick. This is not, so this would not protect if that's all you had, but as just something decorative, it works fine. Definitely leave me a comment below if you have any questions. Like I said, I will leave the measurements to both the cover size as well as a dashboard size in the corresponding blog below. The blog won't be below, but the link to it will be. And as always, guys, aloha.